Hey there fam, welcome to the crew from all around the world. If this is your first time here, we're glad to have you. Hit that like button and subscribe to join the family. So here's the deal, the Houthis just shot down another Israeli drone, and now some leaked intel is putting the U.S. Department of Defense in an awkward spot when it comes to Yemen. On top of that, Saudi Arabia and the UAE are footing the bill for America's military ops there. Washington's basically admitted it's been struggling against the Houthis. Instead of owning it, they're pointing fingers at Russia and China. And just like that, boom, Monday's stealth missile hits Yemen again. The US is out here acting like fighting the Houthis is the best thing they've done for the world. Meanwhile, the Houthi leader says he's stepping into the Israeli-Syrian war too. Now America's shipping all its gear to the Middle East, and Trump's sending a fat weapons package to Tel Aviv after Biden had it on pause. Israel's also getting ready to launch a massive ground assault in Gaza. Turkey, for its part, is like, we don't want beef with Israel and Syria, while Trump is pushing for direct talks with Iran over its nuke program. Things are getting real.
Houthi spokesperson Yahya Saree just announced that they hit a critical target in Tel Aviv using a Yafa drone. Not only that, they claim they also shot down a U.S. attack drone, a Janet Shark, and targeted the USS Roman aircraft carrier in the Red Sea using missiles and drones. That's the third clash in just 24 hours. Saree said they also shut down 2 airstrikes planned against Yemen.
Meanwhile, U.S. officials can't seem to get their stories straight. A month ago, they said the Houthi arsenal was wiped out. Now the Pentagon's admitting they haven't been able to destroy their weapons stockpile or break through their defenses. Turns out the Houthis bounced back fast. Yemen's foreign ministry says the U.S.
The coalition is still active, and those American and Israeli airstrikes on Yemen and Gaza are being bankrolled by Saudi money. Mohammed al-Bukaidi, governor of Dammar and a senior Houthi figure, posted on X that these airstrikes across Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, and Gaza will keep going as long as billions are being pumped into the war machine. This comes after Trump said he's planning a trip to Saudi Arabia to lock in a deal worth hundreds of billions. He even claimed Riyadh promised to pay the U.S. $1 trillion. And it's not just Saudi Arabia. According to a U.S. official quoted by the New York Times, the UAE has been offering logistical and advisory support to American forces in the Yemen campaign.
But Pentagon insiders say the mission hasn't succeeded in knocking out Yemen's massive weapons stockpile. In fact, they estimate the war could cost over $1 billion in just 2 weeks. The Pentagon's probably going to ask Congress for more cash real soon. U.S. generals say they're relying heavily on long-range weapons because Yemen's air defenses are no joke. Reports also show that the U.S. is still hammering Houthi positions from the air, and this might go on for another 6 months.
According to the Associated Press agency, America's stealth bombers have flown over 200 airstrikes since mid-March, launching from Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. These stealth jets are high-tech beasts, capable of flying over 11,000 miles without refueling and even carrying nukes. CNN reported that while some Houthi sites have been destroyed, it hasn't slowed their ability to launch Red Sea attacks. They've even managed to take down 2 U.S. MQ-9 drones. American officials admit the group still has weapons stashed underground and can recover quickly from strikes. Meanwhile, some U.S. military insiders are stressing about how fast long-range weapons are getting used up. It could affect U.S. readiness in the Pacific. The Pentagon, though, says there's no real threat to overall military strength and that America's got enough firepower to keep things under control.
Secretary of State said taking on the Houthis was a huge favor to the world, claiming they hit 160 commercial ships and 174 U.S. naval vessels.
On the flip side, Houthi political leader Mohammed al-Bukaidi said their attacks are basically leverage for the Palestinian resistance. He warned things could escalate if the war in Gaza isn't ended. The only way to calm the region down, he said, is to stop what he called Israeli aggression.
Finally, the Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi commented on the situation in Syria, saying Israel is still bombing Damascus and other areas, and has now split southern Syria into 3 different zones. He hinted that this might be just the beginning.
Forces roll into Damascus countryside with local militias. Houthis call out aggressive U.S. Israel moves. Alright y'all, buckle up, this one's packed. American troops are now pushing into the rural areas around Damascus, rolling in with some local gunmen. At the same time, Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi called out Tel Aviv, saying they're trying to dominate the region with full U.S. backup. He described U.S. policy as straight-up hostile, colonial, and just plain provocative, claiming both Washington and Tel Aviv are becoming isolated because of their aggressive moves. In other military news from the Middle East, South Korea's Yonhap news agency reported that the U.S. and South Korea agreed to temporarily relocate a Patriot air defense battery from South Korea to the Middle East. Meanwhile, back in Yemen, Washington keeps backing its main ally. Reuters got its hands on a document showing that the U.S. shipped 20,000 assault rifles to Tel Aviv last month, a deal that was previously frozen by Biden's administration, but Trump gave it the green light again after the State Department sent a notice to Congress on March 6. According to that doc, the final recipient of the weapons is the Israeli police, so from U.S. support for Israel to the latest in Gaza. The Wall Street Journal quoted insiders saying the Israeli chief of staff is pushing for a full-on ground invasion of Gaza. The goal? To crush the Palestinian resistance before any talk of a political solution. He said they're ready to deploy enough troops to occupy the area indefinitely. Also, the Israeli army announced it took out the commander of the Western Front of the Palestinian movement in a strike that hit Sidon, southern Lebanon. Israel's Channel 14 reported that any spot in Gaza that fires rockets or launches attacks will be completely wiped out. On the flip side, Israel's foreign minister said Trump's peace plan for Gaza is still on the table, but it hinges on allowing Palestinians who want to leave the region to do so. He insisted it's not forced displacement. Now let's jump from Gaza to the fiery Syrian front.
Turkey's foreign minister, Hakan Fidan, said they don't want a showdown with Israel in Syria, but made it clear, Syria doesn't belong to Tel Aviv. In a sit-down with Reuters, Fidan warned that Israel's actions could destabilize the region. He emphasized that Syria's future should be decided by Syrians themselves. If they want to partner with certain countries or strike deals with Israel, that's up to them. Meanwhile, an Israeli official said they're not trying to start drama with Turkey in Syria, and that Tel Aviv understands how complicated the region is. He added that while Israel will protect its security interests, it still respects Syrian sovereignty. And now from Damascus to Lebanon's tense border with Israel. Lebanon's prime minister slammed the strike on Sidon, calling it a blatant violation of Lebanese sovereignty and a breach of UN Resolution 1701. He called for maximum international pressure on Tel Aviv to stop its military operations in the region. Last but not least, let's talk U.S.
Iran. Things are heating up again. Trump's administration is now calling for direct nuclear talks with Iran, hoping to hammer out a full agreement that would dismantle Tehran's entire nuclear program. The Wall Street Journal noted that if Iran agrees, it would mark the first direct talks between the two countries since the U.S. pulled out of the nuclear deal back in 2018. Thanks a ton for tuning in, y'all. Drop a comment, smash that like button, and don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next drop. Here at X News, we're all about bringing you real, unfiltered news. Catch you in the next one. Take care.